you ready to discover who you came here to be? Welcome to the Human Design and Astro Club podcast. Human Design is a system and a tool that is here to empower you and show you your greatest potential. Come learn with us and discover who you really are. Hi friends, Krystle here. Now, before we dive into this episode that I know will be providing you a lot of value and support, we wanted to share with you how we can support you off the podcast because we have a few new opportunities cooking in my kitchen and also that Leah has selected in her market. So the first offer is what we've had for a little while, which is a free guide on tips and tricks to honoring your strategy and authority. Now, if you've had a hard time understanding what your strategy is, if you've had a hard time understanding how to honor your authority and use it in your everyday life, you're going to want to head to the show notes down below and pick up this free guide. Now, our next offer is our language manual, and this is called Your User Manual to Your True Self because it reveals with you how to understand the language in human design, how to understand the key terms and the dense information in human design. We have a lot of images that give descriptions and allow you to follow your chart and learn how to use this language in your everyday life. And you can pick that up in the show notes down below. Now, our next offer is our mini classes on the 4 transformations, which are the variables in human design that help lead you on the path to purpose and help you better understand your process and how to get to where you are going in life. Now we have bundles with this and also a la carte classes on determination, cognition, and environment, and you can pick those up in the show notes down below. And we will be starting a variable intensive. We are super excited about this, so excited, which will be a 5-week program on every single variable. And we are going to be doing a hands-on approach with this, where we'll be guiding you through the classes in depth, week by week, and you will get access to every single guidebook and workbook for life. Yes, you heard that right. Please look out for our wait list soon, as this will be starting in October and there will be limited spots to this intensive. Now, we also have another class, brand new. This is brand new. You've heard it here first, that there will be a 3-part series on 2027. Yep, I know everyone's interested in this class. 3 live Zoom classes recorded, and it's going to be on the 2027 mutation that we are all entering into. And the first class will be on August 22nd for a limited time only for the live classes. Please feel free to head to the show notes for more detail and to register for the class. Now, we also have our 2022 energy forecast. Now, we started at the beginning of the year. We went through all the major players that are happening in 22, and we talk about them through the lens of human design, astrology, and tarot, and you can pick that up in the show notes down below. Now, speaking of energy forecasts, we have a really big opportunity for you guys, especially you listeners that have been listening to us week after week with the program and the transit updates that we've been going through. So we've created a monthly bonus exclusive. Okay, this is called the program exclusive, which is going to be bonus material on the transits and more. And you'll also be getting a worksheet with this each month, where we're going to talk about the gates and channels in detail for each month, as well as a few other things that we'll let you guys know about soon. So definitely pay attention. It'll be coming out in September. Make sure you are subscribed to our email so you can join that immediately. Now, we also have Nurture Your Child Through Their Design. This is a class that we did, a free class that we recorded, that we have decided that we're going to make a whole guidebook for. And you'll be able to pick up the recording as well as the guidebook. And we're going to be going through all the types through the lens of a child. And then we're also going to be giving you nervous system regulation through the variables. We've come up with a few ways that we've been working with our children with this, and we wanted to share it with you. So please pay attention to this coming out late August. Now, if you've been wanting to work with Leah and I one-on-one, if you enjoy how we explain human design, astrology, and tarot, I do the human design portion and Leah does the tarot portion, and we both do one-on-one readings. So if you would like to get a reading, you can head to our website in the show notes down below and book a reading with us. Now, I'm going to stop talking about all this stuff, and I'm just going to let you guys get into it. Feel free to reach out to us. We love hearing from you, and go ahead and listen to this next brand new episode. See you over there, friends. Welcome to the Human Design and Astro Club podcast. I'm Krystle.
And I'm Leah.
And this is the podcast you've been waiting for. All right, that's all the excitement you guys are getting out of me today.
We're trying really hard.
Yeah, we're not that happy.
You know, thinking about it, I had a friend text me today and ask what the energy was today. And I was like, I don't know, but my kids have been rotten and I haven't felt super amazing. And then she was like, oh, my kid is doing the same thing. So
there's supposed to be a Venus trine today. It's not doing, and it's like my sun is supposed to be like conjunct the sun or something also. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be shy. It looked like everything pointed to shining bright. And I feel like I am the dimmest light bulb. Like it's broken. It has shattered into millions of pieces. And then people took those pieces, then they stomped on them. And then they took those pieces that they stomped on and they stuck it in a blender on high blast. And then they took those pieces and they threw them into the unknown. And they're just now floating through space and looking to be connected back. But there's no connection. Everything's lost.
I just went on that whole, like, I visualized the entire thing.
Yeah, it took you guys on a visual journey.
Here I am. I'm like the light that's off in the closet, that like everybody forgets about. And the light is just off. The door is just shut. That's where I feel like I am.
It's locked.
It's locked.
But nobody knows
no one
how
knows
it
where
got
the key
locked.
is.
Nobody knows how it got locked. There's no key.
That's my light. And there actually might not even be a bulb in the light socket.
If it is, it's cracked.
It's cracked.
Yeah, it's not going to work no matter what.
So I guess if anybody else is feeling like a cracked light bulb.
Yeah, or particles of scattered pieces of plastic floating through space that will never connect it ever again. And they know it. They feel alone. I feel like this is part of the theme of this week for me, and I'm just like foreshadowing everything right now because I've already looked at. I'm going through an experience of the solar plexus. From now, I mean majority of the solar plexus, not just like, I don't know, scattered thunderstorms, you know, like this is like I'm entering tsunami territory. Like I'm just gonna be like, if I do not show up, like it's like I'm wanting to show up because we have stuff going on, and the more I show up, the more I'm like, why?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm a little nervous because I'm like, I might drown.
We need our flotation devices.
Yeah. I'm like, can anybody out there, can you throw us a raft with paddles? We need the paddles. Don't just give us the raft. And it needs to make sure that it's patched or that it's new, because don't throw us a raft that has a hole in it. Okay. Yeah. I feel like I lost any hope of a raft right now.
And the paddles are gone.
Oh,
If
someone
there were
broke
paddles,
them.
they like went off with the tide.
Hit a bunch of rocks, shattered. Those particles are also now floating around in space.
We're so dreary right now.
Everyone's like, I've exited out at this point. Well, I mean, I speaking of going through things, you had you've had some moments this week,
Yeah.
and then you had one, and I feel like today was a breakthrough one though.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Yeah.
said you wanted to talk about that.
Well, I was trying to think about like how to my transferred view is survival. So when my money story, for example, is my biggest trigger for going into survival mode. And I actually, it's interesting, all these different things have happened. I often used to go into my, look at my bank account when I wake up in the morning. Like waited, like turn your day off is to look at that. And that was always my thing, was to, to look at that and then worry all day long, worry about what bills are coming out, what things are going to do this and how to eliminate more here and there. And I think it was in 2020 or I think it was 2020. I had a friend of mine help me learn how to budget and how to do, who is the guy that teaches all that financial stuff? He does the snowball effect and like all that stuff. That guy he's true survival. He's got to be. And the girl who I was working with also survival view, like looked up her chart. She's survival view. So she was teaching me through her view.
Yeah, because she does know what it takes to survive. She knows the fear that you should be under, that the pressure that you should be under, the foundation to stand on to make sure you can make it, right? But when you're in that state, you can't even like, it's like the foggiest glass, like it's the foggiest glasses you've ever put on, and it's the most interesting thing to witness from my side, because I see immediately when you enter into it, and I know that you do now. I know before you had zero awareness, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to make sure with the doorway, and now our variable intensive is getting pushed back. We'll talk about that in a moment, but I just realized we should probably let you guys know, because some people have reached out to me actually. So I do want to, I don't know if anyone just heard Otis, but anyways, so view and motivation, like if you're not understanding the beginning steps, meaning determination, cognition, and environment, personality, it's so distorted, because that's where transference really happens, in the mind, right? In your personality. So if you don't understand step one, you're not going to understand step 3 or 4.
Yeah. So that's definitely where I was at. I was like, you're like, what's up? I'm like,
yeah, I always know. I always know. You're like huffing and puffing, or you go mute. That's what happens. You go completely silent. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know why she's in survival, but I know she's in it.
I do. I like walk around my house. I'm like, everything is falling apart. I need to do all of these things. And then immediately I'm like, what do I need to do more of? My non-sacral is like, I need to do more in order to make up for there's lack of, right? And for me, it always comes back to money. And so I'm like, what do I need to do? I need to do more of this. I need to sell more of that. I need to create more of this. I need to blah, blah, blah. And this time I didn't do anything. I let myself be in it. And then I finally talked about it and I cried through it. And there were some times where I was like, how am I going to fix all of this? Like my guilt was like, okay, well, let's think about this in like a realistic way. Like you can't just go out.
Everything's thinking when you're up there.
It's going crazy.
That's never, well, that's transference for you. The thing is, we don't realize that transference, when are you in the mind, people? Because when you are in the mind, you've transferred. That's the way transference works. If you're trying to figure out strategies, you've transferred. And that's another huge reason why I want people coming to our 2027 class or taking it after if you want to wait for all 3 classes to come out. I don't care how you do it. Okay. All I'm saying is you need it. I don't want to even say you need it. I'm going to say you'll find a lot of important, valuable information on what's going on with you right now, like really making sense of right now and the way that we're operating as 7-centered beings. Like, I feel like people don't understand human design because they don't understand where we started.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you understood how much we've been conditioned to still operate from that 7-centered mind perspective of I need to conquer this, that it, like the whole hierarchical patriarchal system is based off of 7-centered beings. And that's why every system is being dismantled right now, because there will be no more systems. I'm like, I keep telling my husband, I'm like, I don't, it's like we can all like, and we joke kind of like all joke about how the government's going to crumble or whatever. It looks like it's crumbling, but it is. It's like if we all kind of just had this awareness, and that's where I'm coming in with this class, is I want to bring people into the awareness of what is really happening here. And all the roles are going to change. My role is going to change as a generator, because the generators are going to have to rebuild society, right? But we don't just like, we don't all know where exactly we're going. And the only beings that truly know, like in a more well-rounded perspective, I guess, is the projector. And that's why people talk about the projector being the new leaders, because we're going to need so much guidance after there's no more systems that are holding society in place anymore. Society is not going to be what it is now. We can see people kind of branching off, right? People are going to be branching off into these smaller pentagroups, and it's going to be about almost like, I see it as like, I'm like, how do I explain this? Like, I visually I can see it all happening with like almost like smaller tribes, but like of like-minded, like, or like likeness in a way that like we're not all trying to be together just to be together. Like, I feel like that's what we've kind of been living as in society. And I realized when we went into the pandemic, like how much I was like around the wrong people. And I think that because we've been forced to, right? We've been forced to live in large groups. And it's not going to be that way anymore. And we can kind of feel like we all kind of feel like I want to kind of socialize right now, right? But I kind of don't at the same time, or that I can't socialize with these certain particular people anymore. There's a whole energetics behind why that's happening.
Yeah. I think it's really my brain is ready for, well, not my actual, well, I'm not going to say that wrong, but anyway, I'm interested to hear from you about the projector part, because I feel like I want to know a lot more about my role and how that's going to play out for myself or even the people around me. Like, obviously I'm not going to impact the whole world, but my particular people of who
people are going to be coming to you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like where the projector felt completely not recognized and not invited, it's going to go to the other end of the spectrum, where I feel like that's why projectors are really finding out who they are right now, and embracing it, and why human design's on the rise is because we're going to need a good amount of people that are going to help move this collective energy forward.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like this is the time to start understanding this, because when I first learned about it, I was like, what? I'm like, yes, that's definitely, I'm like, I've seen this playing out in some like something, but like you just don't know what it is. Like something's happening, something's coming. We can see humanity kind of like going in a new direction, but also like hesitant. We see, and like that's the thing is, I don't think, and this is what I want to talk about maybe during our Q&A. I don't think everybody is going to come with us.
No, I was thinking that too. I'm like, that's how it felt with like 2020 and everything. Like the big hype word, at least in the places that I was looking and YouTube and stuff, was like the 3D, 4D, 5D. Like there's people that are meant to be on a certain timeline, on a certain plane or a certain wherever, because they're here to ground us down. They're not necessarily going to shift and they're going to change, or they're going to love change or want to change, but they're meant to be there. And like that's where their soul contract was signed to be, which is interesting. But I think that there's going to be people that just aren't going to do a lot of that shifting. But I think the community part seems really cool. Like it'll be interesting to see what that looks like, the communities of like people.
Yeah. And like the new beings that are coming, the raves, they are going to work in that pentastyle. That's the only way they're going to be able to function. They are going to find each other and they are going to need each other. Not everyone's going to be a rave after this point. Some people like and obviously all of this is just theory, right? Like we will not know until we get there. But I feel like because Ra's not the only person talking about this or that talked about this, because there's other people and other types of communities and systems and even religion. And like if you look at different varieties of where a lot of this conversation is happening, they're all kind of saying the same thing and they're all kind of talking about the same being. They might change the wording, they might change the name or whatever, but there's some form of new human coming. And I mean, we've been seeing versions of that. We've been seeing with even children that are born now, they're different, right? So I don't know. There's a lot of questions. I do have a lot of answers, but then there's still good, but there will always be more questions.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that this class is also going to be really inspirational for people in regards to what's going on with them right now, because we are in the middle of this transition right now. This started in 2020. We're at the breakdown of the cross of planning. That's what's happening right now.
We're in the thick of it.
Yeah. We're in the complete destructive phase, which is why I'm like, okay, while we're in the mess of it, maybe this might be a good time to talk about this. Especially because there's some heaviness coming in October. And I don't know. I just have to hope that we're putting this class out during the right time. I don't know why. It just seems like it needs to be now. I don't know. I don't know if I'll get an answer for that. The spleen does things. The spleen tells you to do things in the time frame that it's supposed to happen, because the spleen happens in the now, right? And also my sacral, but you also have a divine spleen. So I'm speaking like, and the spleen is really like that mysterious intuition that it's like, I have absolutely no fucking clue why I'm doing this. All I know is that it feels right.
Yep. That's exactly it. It really is.
Yep. And once you start leaning into that more, you're supported. But it's still the scariest fucking thing that you could possibly ever do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm feeling all sorts of weird. I've got waves running. I'm feeling the next one's already coming.
I feel like I've been on a roller coaster of emotions this week. I mean, I'm still in it, but like today, this morning, my emotional projector was angry because she wasn't allowed to. What was she trying to do? I told her to turn off her Kindle, and she just stared at me. Like, okay, well, give me your Kindle. I'll turn it off. And I turn it off. Well, that sent her off a cliff. Half
Yeah.
an hour later, she's done screaming at me and she's like, I'm sorry, mommy. I just wanted to turn the iPad off myself. I was like, cool.
Oh.
That was it. That's all you needed to do was turn it off.
Oh, speaking of kids though, our kids
Oh,
class is out.
speaking of kids, not emotional. So yeah.
Yeah. There will be an emotional aspect to it. And there's going to be a nervous system regulation that Leah needs to put into practice for herself consistently.
Mm-hmm.
With her emotional, there's a lot of trial and error though,
Oh yeah.
with kids, and
Sometimes it
then and
works and sometimes it doesn't.
sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it's finding some consistent routines, which can
Yeah.
be the most challenging for projectors to do.
Yeah. And especially where you are. So your environment makes a huge impact. If I'm home, I can regulate it a lot easier.
Yeah,
But
because she's
we were
also
in the
calm
car, I couldn't.
determination.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think calm determination people, they really need to be in a safe space.
Yeah. She needs to be in her room.
Yeah.
It's a major aspect.
Her
But
room.
so yeah, in her room.
Yeah, mine too. My husband doesn't get it. He thinks that I'm fucking
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah, you're
that
like,
like
no,
I
I
like
gotta
to eat
go.
in my bed. I put a towel down. It's very romantic.
Dinner for one.
I light a candle. Uh, I get really intimate with my food. Um, you know, well, I'm supposed to. Calm determination. It's touch.
Yeah.
There's an intimate involvement with your food that people don't know about other than other touch people. Calm touch or nervous get it, but it's a different kind of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of.
Different.
I feel like this when I'm around a nervous person,
Mm.
but they're actually, it's interesting because like it's actually the calm people that are actually the nervous people, that they need to come into a state of centeredness and like not tension, because I feel like there's constant tension happening with calm people, and it's the opposite end for nervous people. They are actually more calm,
Mm.
and then it's like they need to get riled up to eat. They need to get their nervous system moving, like usually through movement, because they're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so they need like some commotion, something going on around them.
Yeah, stimulation.
Yeah.
There needs to be stimulation. So right brain people, you guys, it's just so it because it looks like you guys aren't paying attention. But it's the only way you can.
Hmm. Yeah. I wish that sometimes I had more of I really try to tap into the pay attention, Leah, pay attention. But with kids and with everything else going on, sometimes I lose track of like we'll have lengthy conversations, like business conversations.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got it. I got my list. I got my things. And then by the end of it, we're like, okay, let's recap. And that's at the point usually where the kids are like "Meow, meow, 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 meow," in the background. And I'm really trying to focus on this right
Yeah.
now. Like, get out of here. And then I
Yeah.
lose track. And so hopefully I don't miss anything, but I always come back to you. I'm like, okay, I missed the last part of our conversation, but we
Yeah.
did all of it. So let me just make sure I didn't miss anything.
One day we'll be more like we'll have like,
Business meetings.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard doing that with kids.
Hmm.
We need to do a whole episode on just like running a business as a mother.
That's a good idea.
I've asked my audience because there are a lot of we realize we have a lot of parents. We didn't
Yeah.
realize we realized the people that came to our class, and then people DM me that are parents a lot, and I'm just like, you're out there. Okay. All right. All right.
Okay.
I see you and I want to support you.
Hmm.
And so this is just the beginning with this kid's class. It's almost like an introduction, really. But there's a lot of different approaches that you could take with this class, because it's for you to understand your kid better and nurture them, and also to help you teach them and show them how to nurture them and speak to them in a way that's easier to explain. It's really good guide for even the newbie, a newbie to human design, because it gives a very simplified explanations to the types, how they work, examples of how they operate. And I mean, if you're ready for it, the nervous system regulation through the variables, which I think is highly valuable to be experimenting with. Everything is an opportunity for you to be inspired by either yourself or your child. I feel like that's what this class is.
Totally.
So I'm very excited for it. We got good feedback on the people that came to it. So that was really fun. So that came out this week. If you want to pick it up, you can head to the show notes down below and you can pick it up. It's only $25, man. $25 for what is it, over an hour video?
Yep, hour long, hour plus, like I think it's an hour 20 maybe.
And then also a guide. So it's over giving here, but I feel like it needed to happen this way, because I feel like I want this to be accessible.
Yeah, especially for the parents and everything that every day to day we have to think about and go through with our kids. Is nurturing them is really important.
I mean, what we just talked about with after 2027, like we need to know how to be.
Yeah.
And so it really starts with the children. And like we said, the children that are coming in now, very different. And they deserve the support so that they don't have to be in the survival mode that most of us have had to experience at some point in this life so far. We've all experienced a form of survival that if we could get our shit together, humanity, we might not have to be experiencing that for much longer. But I think it's going to be a lot of survival at the beginning because it's going to be scary. And that's what survival feeds off of, is fear, right? It's in the spleen.
Yep.
Survival and fear both live in the spleen. They go hand in hand. But I think after we make it over that part, and if there's more people out there that really understand where we're going and these smaller communities that we're going to have to start forming, and that systems are breaking down, so that, and that's also like between, we have North Node Taurus, which is all about foundations and essentials of things, right? And we're seeing a great deal of supply and demand. We're having obviously major issues with that, and that's pertaining to North Node Taurus, Taurus in Uranus, which is about to go retrograde, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. And then also the 2027. And it's not a coincidence that this is all happening at the same time, that we're having this supply and demand issue with also infrastructure and things just completely crumbling. There's an energetics behind all of this. Instead of living in fear of it, we need to, one, have awareness around it. And I think that's what the 2027 class is going to bring, is awareness. So if you're listening to this, we're putting this episode out earlier. So this class starts on Monday. If you haven't already purchased your ticket, you could go right now and pick up a copy if you have caught this before the class starts, which I think it's like 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if this is before that time on Monday, the 22nd, go down below, purchase your ticket. Also, there's a discount for anyone that purchases the kids class. You get a discount for the 2027 class. So if you purchase the kids class, make sure you got the discount code. And if you missed it, message us, email us, and we'll be happy to provide you the code. And then the other thing before we get started is that we are pushing the variables intensive back because there's just too much going on. And also we have children and other priorities, as well as Leah has an undefined sacral. And if there's one thing that we've learned in business, it's respecting each other's differences. And so we had to get clear on both of our boundaries and also where we were willing to give and take. And I think at the end of the day, we're both like, we need to do what's best for people's openness. There's no, like, we should be nurturing people's openness. And that's one thing that we actually talk about in the kids class, about nurturing people's openness and your children's openness. And really, our openness is kind of like our inner child. It's gone through some trauma. And I think that's one thing that people don't respect each other's openness and the experiences that they've gone through and that are stored there, and that the vast amount of energy. Like if you think of like an open center, it's almost like an open window, right? A lot of air is getting in there. It's being flooded constantly with a new circulation of neutrinos, right? Coming, bouncing off of people that have definition that you're with, that you're in the aura, and then even more intensely through the transits. So I learned some stuff about you with your undefined root, and some stuff that I've seen patterns before that were coming back this time. I'm like, we need to squash this, like in a way that you're not being in the not self with it. Like we should, if we see someone that we care about in their not self and we have this awareness around it, it's a disservice not to like be there for them and like hold like that's what really holding people don't understand what holding space actually means.
I feel like that kind of got to be like a buzzword or a little bit like gaslighty
that's
for a second.
Space, but that's actually holding space. I mean, like I know that you have this openness that needs space to process what's happening, as well as like being there for the person that's going through it, going through, and it's just interesting holding space. And I think of an open center and just like that vast amount of open space that's sitting there and being bombarded by a lot of energy. So
yeah, I think we've learned a lot about each other. Even this past week has been your openness and my openness, just having that conversation and hearing each other and like
that's this is being a 9-centered being that we can't fucking figure out.
We can. You and I can.
We are the only people on this planet. No, I'm just kidding. There's some other people out there, but I mean, I even see a lot of, we're not going to go down this fucking rabbit hole, but people in the human design community that talk a lot of talk, but actually are not.
Yeah.
They're just not. That's all I'm going to say. I know too much. I'm a first line. And I have gate 13.
All the secrets and stories.
I will never tell.
Nope.
But anyways, this is actually kind of a big week.
So yeah, let's get into it. I need to hear more.
Yeah, there's a lot to say with this. Okay. So we actually kick off this week entering Virgo season. So that's kind of exciting. I feel like Virgo season's always that little kick in the butt that everybody needs, right? And then we have new moon Virgo happening at the end of the week, so it's kind of nice that we're kind of all together there. We can always sense, around this time, like I just said, it's really about getting back to business. And like if you think about it, we have the kids going back to school, summer's ending. There's a focus for the beginning of this week that we're going to have on commitment that had started the week prior. So this program is going to be at the end of the week at the beginning of this week. So this is a focus on sacral juice that we've been experiencing through this program about commitment and what is correct for us. And I feel like I'm being pulled around with my commitments right now. I think we're all kind of in that state. And this is about saying yes to what is correct. So we are at the stage in this program on Monday with completing a process. And we are being grounded in our emotions, being grounded in feeling, and being grounded in a recognition for change. Where have your feelings changed during this program? Maybe right now you can see the big picture on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we come into an emotional surge. If you haven't been experiencing other ones, I have. So we will be experiencing this throughout the week, igniting our bonds to have better communication on connection with each other. This could be also a point of bonds also breaking for some. And we have expression happening on our opinions and patterns. You might be able to spot where certain relationships are fueled with intimacy and where others are fueled with pain. And we also get a new program that's focusing on bonding. There's a lot of bonding this week, guys. Okay. Lots of bonding. Lots. It's literally the main focus for the week. Okay. In every possible way. It's going to continue. So it's about, we're going to have a big thing with relationships. That's the big thing of this week. So pay attention to your most intimate relationships this week. This is really about intimacy, not just like, casual flings. I'm talking about, the either, I'm hoping either your partner could even be family, a best friend. I feel like with a bunch of retrogrades that we're experiencing, you could be even thinking about past relationships during this time. And we're being grounded in an abundance of spirit. And we'll be experiencing the spectrum of what it feels like through our emotions, what it means to be full. So, are your relationships this week fueling you, or are they depleting you? That might be a question for this week's program. Are your relationships fueling you, or are they depleting you? I want you to come back to that question again during the new moon, because this is all leading up to the new moon with this. So Uranus goes retrograde in Taurus, and this might be an invitation to break out of stale old patterns, reevaluate relationships again. And also, Taurus represents the relationship with yourself. So maybe this also might pertain to you. So there can be a revelation of internal struggles during this time. But know that because your Uranus is slower moving, that you might not feel an extreme shift with this planet, but nonetheless, it's still important. So because Uranus tends to be revolutionary, it's a very revolutionary planet, right? It wants to shake things up. And so I do believe that this is leading up to some heavy energy that's coming in October. So we're feeling the shifts. I feel like and I've said this before recently, like the conjunction, I really like took us for a spin. And so I really think that's the beginning of where we're going with a lot of things. So we also have new moon Virgo happening on Saturday. So that's exciting. Virgo is a mutable earth sign, okay, that pertains to routines, wellness, health, and work. See what's going on in your 6th house on this day, okay? And I feel like, Virgos kind of hold that like 5th line energy, like, and also like guilt motivation, which is also 5th line, right? Because they're about correcting, right? They're always willing to tell you what you're doing wrong, right? That's what I feel like that's the Virgo's if you know any Virgos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have a bunch in my life. I have my brother, and then I have my husband. They're both Virgos. One's end of August and one's in September. So I feel like there's different flavors of each sign depending on the month that with the season, and the flavor of that month. And so my brother's leaning a little more towards Leo, and then my husband's leaning a little more towards the Libra side of the Virgo. And it's very, very accurate. And so I do say that if look at the month you were born in, it really does paint also a picture for you, a bigger picture. So, and my husband happens to be a Virgo and also guilt motivation. And he has gate 58. So he is ready to tell you every single thing you're doing wrong. He's not afraid. He's got an undefined throat. So it'll be as harsh as fuck. And you're going to just be like, okay, so I just suck at life. Okay, cool. That's cool. That's cool. No, he's also there to tell you when you're doing something right. And because he loves telling people what you're doing wrong, when you're doing something right, you're like, wow, I must be like the most amazing person right now. He's never going to listen to this, by the way. So he could be listening right outside the door. That's the best, is when he is actually like kind of snooping. But anyways, enough about my husband. Don't tell him I said any of this stuff. He's also the best person in the world. He's got the biggest heart. He's got a defined heart and also a defined G center. And so, yeah, when he decides he's committed to you, you're in it for life. He chose me as his soulmate before his Saturn return, which was probably a mistake for him. But nonetheless, stuck with me. So anyways, I don't know. Okay, we're done. We're done. This time we're really done. So here, we're going back to what I was actually talking about. So this new moon might be pushing you to feel driven and take some immediate action, but I would say hold off, because we get a little emotional, right? Sometimes with stuff going on in the moon. So take a step back for a second. Okay, if you're feeling this during the new moon, that you want to go tell someone that you fucking hate their guts. Okay. Hold off. Okay. Because there's some intense Mars action that's going to want to push you to do that, but I'm going to tell you to hold off. So anyways, wait for the waters to lower a little bit. Okay. There could be a potential chance of some shifts occurring also during this time, especially in routines. And kids are, think about it. Kids are going back to school, and everyone will need a shift in gear with their daily lives and their daily routines, right? So allow yourself also patience during this new moon as well. Some things could potentially heat up, and it's important to witness the unions, okay, you have, and how they are fueling you and the way your physical form feels in your relationships. Like asking your body, like I feel we don't get good at asking our body, like, do I like the way I feel in this person's energy, in this person's aura, right? We don't ever ask ourselves, because sometimes, there's energy suckers out there. Those people, you go around them, you feel like you fucking just lost your entire life when you get home, and like we don't question that stuff enough. So this might be the week to do that, so you can plant some new seeds. New moons are all about planting new seeds. So maybe it's time to plant some new fucking relationships, right? Or maybe you're going to meet somebody new during this time. So this is going to be a good time during this new moon to establish some new routines around your body and your health. Okay. So Sunday, we will gain a new program on community, more relationships, and a little in an emotional way. Okay. Just to give me a new wave to be in. So I'm excited about that. So there's going to be a focus on wanting to connect with your community or your family. Okay. And then the earth, we're being grounded in an emotional foundation of these relationships. So with friendship and community. So there's a huge emphasis here, like I said, this week on relationships and bond making and community and your fractals. It's all going to be coming into play this week. Um, so, think about your romantic, your platonic, your business, your community, your family relationships. All of them are going to be almost being broken down in some ways, which I feel like we're already been at like the beginning stages of that. And so we're kind of coming into that transitional phase where it's like, okay, now it's time to reevaluate, right? Are these people coming with me into this next chapter, right? Think of every new moon as almost like the next chapter of your book. And are these people coming with you or not this week? Are they coming with you into the next season? Are they going to be with you during fall? Or was it just a seasonal relationship that you were in? Or like, what's that saying again about relationships or like seasons? And some people are for a season and some people are for a lifetime. I totally butchered that whole thing. What is that? I have no idea. I can't like anytime like I have the mic on me, I'm like, I just it's like a deer. It's like deer in head. Like I'm like I don't know what our words are. What are words? Do you know that saying?
Yeah, but now I'm blanking on it too.
Yeah. When you get put on the spot, especially I think the observer, when the observer gets put on the spot. By the way, nobody answers our Spotify question. I did get a DM though. I just want to call you guys out. I know that most of you do listen on Apple because we do see the analytics and we can see that the majority are on Apple. The rest of you, or if you have Spotify, come on. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Spotify just to listen to music, you can still, because I have the free version,
Yeah,
you can
just
still
still
look
go
up our
answer.
podcast and hit the question box. You don't have to listen to the whole podcast. Just we'd love to hear from you.
We would love to hear from you. But in the ones that have been DMing us, thank you. We're so happy to hear from you. We love chatting with you. It's usually me responding.
It's always Krystle responding.
Sometimes Leah's better with the emails. But
Yeah.
I still tend to respond to a lot of them anyways, because she's like, I'm not sure what. I'm like, okay, I know what to say. Just let me talk. I'll do it.
You're
I got,
always, you got it.
I mean, I'm a generator.
Yeah, we have our specialties. We know.
Leah makes sure it's organized and like things are implemented and in place. And then I'm the one that's able to use the voice part, I guess, and be the creator and the responder. So, I mean, sometimes Leah wants to. When she does, I'm like, do it. She never does. But she does also like talking to you guys. She's still a fourth line, but it's like, I feel like the fourth line knows the people that they can talk to and the ones that they can't. That's the biggest thing with the fourth line. Like the third line's like, I'll bond with you. Yeah. Let's try it out and see if we have something going here. Fourth line, like, I'm not talking to you unless I actually like feel a real connection. Like you're actually part of my network. And if you're not a part of my network, I can tell, I can feel it's like you guys almost like feel the strings, like the threads, like on the fractal. No?
I don't know. I guess that's an interesting way to look at it. I don't see, but probably.
I think Leah's at the end of her Leah's at the end of her day here. She's like, you're asking me intimate questions that I have to think about, but I don't have an answer for you right now.
Yeah, I definitely have to think about that one, but it probably is pretty accurate.
Because it's like, well, we've talked about stranger danger with the fourth line.
Yeah.
And everyone that hears for like, I never thought of it that way, but it totally is because if someone's not in your network, the fourth line doesn't want anything to do with you. They're still super friendly, but they're not looking to connect. Like once the fourth line knows that someone's in their network, you will never get rid of them. You've got a fourth line for life in
that is true.
In that situation until they find
until they find a similar relationship that they're getting from you, because they're the opportunist, right? So until they find a similar relationship that they're getting from this certain person in somebody else new, they're not jumping that lily pad to that next relationship, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
It's true. I don't feel like I'm leaving people behind. Like, I hope people don't feel like I'm leaving them behind anywhere. It's just expanding the network. It's just like,
Yeah. And some people grow together
yeah,
and some people grow apart. But the thing is with the fourth line is they're not moving until they see the next
yeah,
opportunity. It just is.
yeah,
People get really hung up on the word opportunity though, and like opportunist, because it sounds like you're taking advantage. It gives off that vibe,
yeah.
but it's also correct.
It's okay, fourth line. You may do that.
It's see, I wish I was a little bit more of the opportunist sometimes, because because people want to talk to you guys often because they find you guys to be so friendly, but you guys are like not willing to let them all the way in unless you know they're part of your network.
Mm. Yeah. No, I definitely think that's true.
Yeah. I watched that also with Milo, my manifestor, because he's the fourth line. He's the only fourth line in the house. And once he gravitates to someone that he feels, I feel like there's that internal string with the fourth line. You guys are running along. You're like, you're connected to my string.
Yeah.
Telephone, right? We're connected. We've now hooked up each other's, internal cell phones, right? We're part of the family network, right? The family plan. You guys are on the family plan. Now welcome them into your family plan. And that's why it's hard to get rid of them, because then you got to kick them off the family plan somehow.
Oh,
But
yeah, that's
but you're not a third line.
Right. No, it's like, I can't let go.
Yeah. I'm like, once somebody does me dirty, I'm like, we're done here. Especially these days. I don't have, we're not messing around. And it's nothing really personal. Like, that's what I've realized now. Even if it feels personal in some ways or at the moment, I know that it's not. We're just no longer an energetic match. And that's the biggest thing with the third line, is because we're constantly growing and mutating. Like, who I was yesterday is not even the person that I am today. And like, I feel like that's the confusing part for other people that have third lines in their life, that they don't realize that like we are constantly like shifting. We're like the shapeshifters of the world. And so for me, like, once I realized that like we're no longer vibing on the same level anymore, and you kind of smell like energetically. I don't mean physically, okay? Like, the vibe's not there anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the wind has been taken out of our sail. And I'm just like, we're done. We're done here.
There you go.
Life is too short.
Were you done with your thing? I don't want to cut you
Oh,
off
yes,
when
I
you're
am
going
done.
into the
Sorry.
cards.
We went on a lot of tangents. So there's a lot of emotions running. So we got a lot of solar plexus action. We got a lot of sacral action this week. We got some uh throat and ajna action this week. So if you have any of those centers undefined or open, see how you feel throughout the week, because you're going to be working through some stuff. So there's going to be a lot of working through some stuff this week. So that's it.
We're working. Well,
when are we not working?
When are we not working? Yeah, it's true. Well, because the only reason I asked, because I was really excited, because I'm starting to pull the cards while you're talking, and it's just literally confirms everything you say. So I don't know if people like that or not, but I pulled the seven. Yeah, let us know. The Seven of Swords, which is all about it's kind of like there's multiple ways you could take this. So there's a person handling 5 of the swords. There's 2 in the background. He's walking away from like, looks sort of like circus tents over here. And he's got this smug look on his face and he's like, haha, I tricked you. I'm moving on, going over here. I'm taking these things and I'm leaving this other stuff behind. So you could take this in multiple ways. It could be you're taking yourself and removing yourself from an old energetic pattern that wasn't working for you anymore. It could be a person that you were moving away from. It could be something that just isn't working anymore, a job, a house, I don't know. And it could also be that someone else is walking away from you. So maybe you're just noticing that things aren't working. Let them go. Let them go on their way. And then it could be that you need to kind of wait, like you said, to wait and see through that illusion or see through whatever it is that somebody might be trying to play the circus trick on you, saying, things are all fine. Look how fun it is over here, when they're really taken off with all of your, energy. The energy vampires, those people, you really need to set boundaries with them. Put the 2 swords here. I'm behind the microphone, you can't see it. Put the 2 swords down and set the boundaries with those people, because sometimes they don't know that they're doing that. Sometimes they do know they're doing that, but you are the one responsible for your own energy. So you set the boundaries for yourself, which also sets, the tone for that relationship. That one was kind of cool. And then the second one I got, which this is a different deck that I'm pulling from, is called Growth. And it says, I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. And I'll read the rest of it from the book here. It says, you are constantly being presented with situations that enable you to develop your inner wisdom and assist you in advancing to higher levels of understanding. The lesson is to be aware of these events and recognize them for what they are. To live a mindful life is not only about respecting and honoring those around you, it's also about recognizing every person and circumstance in your path as a teacher. The constant chatter and diversions of life on earth can distract you from seeing the signposts that Spirit has left on your path. Take the time to be aware of the bountiful wisdom that has been laid before you. Acknowledge those gifts and take them to the heart as you continue your journey on this physical dimension. Don't look for the opportunities that you think you need. Instead, be receptive to the opportunities that are given. I feel like those go really well together. It also goes really well with the energy of this coming week.
Yeah.
The growth, the awareness, moving on, seeing who's in your circle, who's around you. Are they supporting you or are they not?
Who's in your fucking network?
Yeah.
We all have a network, even if we're not a 4th line. There's somebody there, right? Seriously. I mean, well, maybe not everybody. I shouldn't say that. If you are feeling any, like, here comes my open solar plexus. If you are feeling lonely, and also my open throat, if you're feeling lonely, I just want to let you know, and this is not an invitation for people to come and plug into my energy. This is just if you need to release some stuff, like, people DM me all the time and I'm totally just open to listening to people. Or you can DM our new account, which is both of us, which we do prefer. And we thank you for the people that have DM'd us over there. Human Design Astro Club is our new Instagram together. So follow us over there. And also, congratulations to whoever the winner is that won our free ticket to the 2027 class that we just put out. So we'll be seeing you tonight. If you don't know what you're talking about, it's because you're not on our email list. So get on our email list. Yeah, get on our email list because we put a lot of stuff. It's not even just like, I mean, you're a winner every week because you get an aura energy update, and now we're giving out cosmic codes every week. So there's a lot of benefits. We don't like to spam people. We will share a little bit more when we are putting stuff out, just so that, sometimes people miss emails, and so that you have all the information. And so you can find ways to support us, because we are always coming on here every week. And, it's nice to, get the exchange.
Yep. definitely does feel good.
And this is going to be, this is a week of exchange in many ways. So,
Here for it.
I might be going on a camping trip at the end of this week. And if I do, I'll let you guys know. We'll leave it a mystery for now. Because who knows when, if things happen. So if it does, I'll be sure to tell you.
We'll have all the stories next week.
There'll be a lot of stories. Yeah.
Yep.
So happy new moon.
Happy new moon.
And we'll see you over there on the next one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Krystle and I are really here as defined hearts to provide value to you with our unique insights. If you have found any of this episode valuable to you, we ask that you share with a friend, tag us with a highlight on Instagram, and write us a review so we can reach more people. Human design and astrology are tools to guide us toward our transformation. You are a unique and beautiful being, and we encourage you to let that light inside of you shine bright. See you in the next episode, friends.